Yo, yo, yo. Shane, what's going on, man? Let's see how many people we can get to turn up. I'll give it a few minutes. Wow, 9 people. Taking over the world, man. What's going on, everybody? Has everybody had a good Easter? For those of you who are Orthodox Christians, like myself, we are, well, this is our Holy Week now, actually. So it's a week later this year. How long have you been live? Literally about 30 seconds. No, I tell a lie, actually. It's 51, 52, 53, 54 seconds. Yep, about a minute. What do you win? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Hooyah. You guys will notice that I've gone off on one over the last couple of weeks. You know, it's not going to stop. Like, I've had enough. Like, I've just had enough. I need to put no. It's banter. Yeah, it's a little bit of banter, but we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. So Bitcoin. I mean, look, let's talk reality, right? You know, and I know the thumbnail says Bitcoin found. Here it is, Bitcoin. But let's just talk sensibility. Let's just be practical about our investing. It's been a while since I've jumped on, or at least it seems like forever. So what can we expect? Right? What can we expect going forward? Right? Is there anything that we can see or glean, from what we're looking at that gives us any indication what's happening? Because at the moment, we're literally just grinding sideways, in this very, very annoying broad range consolidation. And that consolidation is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It's created a secondary and a third consolidation, which is getting even tighter. And you guys know that I've obviously been talking about this 30K for a little bit of time. I do still believe we'll hit 30K. But whether or not that's sustainable, it remains to be seen. I still feel that there is a lot going on, in the world that could potentially cause a ripple effect or a systemic effect globally that will cause, either, a crash or some sort of, black swan event, something significant, something of magnitude, and something that's going to basically scare a lot of people, because I don't think everybody's paying attention. Some of us are. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're right, but I don't think, the majority of people are paying attention. Even just some of the fun that I'm having on Twitter, you can see, it's the same kind of rhetoric, and it's starting to kind of ramp up in the hype and the Bitcoin and the alt season, all this stuff, right? Altcoin season. And it all leads to the same thing, exit liquidity for the big boys. So, we need to be smart, right? If you purchase Bitcoin down here, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And if you purchased it down here, even better, right? Amazing. But let's focus on the now. If you're looking to purchase Bitcoin here, right? I don't think that's a very good idea. Yeah. You have to kind of think after effect, right? So if Bitcoin pops right now and hits 30K, 30K is a pretty significant level, right? And there is a little bit of leeway when it comes to Bitcoin going through 30K. 30, 31, 32 maybe. But if we go over to the monthly chart, which is the most important chart in my opinion, we're basically rallying in a pretty aggressive downtrend, and excuse me, the reason that I feel that this is so important, where's the crosshair? The reason that I feel this is so important down here, right, the 12K level, between 11 and 12K, is because it's the impulse that resets a lot of things, right, in terms of liquidity, in terms of big players, where they've purchased. And what it also does, if price does start to take a downturn and really starts to drive towards 12K again, and I'll get back to, I'm not looking at the comments, by the way, so I'll get back to those in a minute. But in fact, let me just check just in case people are saying they can't hear me or anything. Cool. All right. I'll get back to those in a minute. And I'm sorry about that. I think it's that side. Yeah, this kind of, this glare. It looks pretty cool, to be fair, almost like a black and white. But going back to Bitcoin, the reason this is so important is the main reason is if Bitcoin starts to take a bit of a tear to the downside and starts to drive towards 12K, a lot of people think about this, right? Some of these big whales who are holding an immense amount of Bitcoin, including miners, including big players like Michael Saylor, what's his name, Max Kaiser, who for some reason really likes to tear up dollars or whatever. I'm not sure what that's about. I mean, I've burnt money before. It was an accident, right? So before I get arrested, But the biggest thing for me is like, you look at these big players who are holding a lot of Bitcoin, and it's like, do the powers that be, let's get a little bit conspiratorial for a second. Do the powers that be want Bitcoin to be held by such a very few amount of people, right? So you look at China, second largest, or actually I tell a lie, I believe it's Russia now, which is the second largest miner in the world. You know, some of these big countries that say we're banning Bitcoin, China's obviously banned Bitcoin about 60 times, but they're still mining Bitcoin. They're still holding Bitcoin. You know, people aren't stupid. None of us are. Even a lot of these people on Twitter, you know, are tweeting, shilling, and doing all the stuff that they're doing. These, you know, these people I'm having fun with. They're not stupid either. Like, we know collectively as a cryptocurrency consciousness, right? We understand that a lot of these countries, right, are all lying, and they're obviously holding Bitcoin and immense amounts of Bitcoin as well. So let me ask you all a question, and I really hope that this gets across in some way. If you have, just for argument's sake, the total Bitcoin supply being held by a very select group of people relative to the populace, right? So billions and billions and billions of people around the world, and the majority of the circulating supply is held by a very small group of those billions and billions and billions of people. How does that play out, right? Where is this kind of freedom, and Bitcoin is energy, and Bitcoin is digital gold, and all of this stuff, right? Where does all of that play out when you have the same dynamic that we've had for years? The few control most of the wealth, right? So the question I pose to you is that, where or how does that play out? Right, it's an interesting question and a very important question, because many people believe, you know, we've heard the numbers. If you own 0.01 Bitcoin, you'll be, you know, whatever, stupid stuff like, you know, buy 0.187629 Bitcoin, you'll thank me later. Stupid stuff like that. This is irrelevant. These meaningless amounts of Bitcoin are absolutely irrelevant, you know, in years to come, when the dollar is basically worthless. It's not paired to anything of tangible value, and you're trying to get people to accept something that has no value, right? This is where the issue comes in. I had a conversation recently. Many people are saying, or well, I say many people, but a few people have said to me that I'm ignorant when it comes to Bitcoin. I don't understand it. I understand Bitcoin very well, right? And I think when we refuse to look at logic and understand that the powers that be have emotions, and these emotions are used literally throughout history, right? This kind of manipulation of human emotion to the point where the only thing they care about is money. Like, this is something that these Bitcoin maxis and these Bitcoin holders really need to understand, because they have this, you know, insane belief, right, that Bitcoin is or cannot be affected, you know, by some of the things that have been, you know, pushed out there throughout the years. People being manipulated, you know, people being lulled into this, or at least primed into buying a particular asset class, and then that money is basically taken from people. We see it all the time in the stock market. You know, there's plenty of manipulation in the stock market, the forex market, commodities market, whatever. Not so much in the commodities market, because a lot of the stuff has to be, listed. In the sense of, you know, purchasers, you're dealing with a tangible product basically, and purchasers, you know, have to be there. Stocks, stores, you know, you can't just say, well, we have X amount of wheat when you clearly don't have X amount of wheat, right? So there's a lot of variables. But when it comes to Bitcoin, you know, these Bitcoin maxis believe that Bitcoin, you know, can't be manipulated, can't be changed, can't be affected. But I still pose that question. If the very small few are holding or at least most of the circulating supply of Bitcoin, how does that play out for all of us? You know, are we then dependent on their philanthropic nature, you know, or like how does that play out? If I'm holding 0.0289 Bitcoin, for example, yeah, and somebody's holding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, yeah, of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, in the billions actually, how does that play out for me? Yeah. So these are the things that we need to think about. Let me just get to the comments. Thank God I finally caught you live. Let's take a look. Thank God I finally caught you live, and I'm operating equipment so I can talk to you. How you been? I've been awesome, mate. Yeah, I've had a migraine over the last 3 days. It's been pretty horrendous, to be honest, but it seems to be subsiding. To be honest, I think it's this. I don't know if any of you are aware or know what this is, but this is a dual inhaler. Basically, it has steroids in it. My asthma, for some reason, just won't leave me alone. And I think the what's it called, benzo something, budesonide, right? I think this is what triggered that migraine, to be honest, because it was a little bit different. I've had migraines since I was 6. I'm very, very how can I say, I'm very close to my migraines. I understand them. I know, when they come, I see the early signs of them and everything else. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what that's what did it. So maybe my body's just getting used to this new inhaler, because it's got both of them in there now. It's I can't use the other one. I have to use this now, even for relief. I've already got nothing. Face red drip. Loving your tweets. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm having a bit of fun on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? I think it's hilarious, to be honest. Did you see the latest one? Which I thought was quite funny. A new Earth-like planet found holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin is transcending analog energy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So they're out there, people, man. They're out there. Aliens, they're holding Bitcoin. And yeah, God help us all. We've got fun times. I don't know if you are. I don't know if you know of crypto control. Also, this might be off topic, so I'm sorry. I do know crypto control. Yep. But I asked him about Evergrow. Excuse me. But I asked him about Evergrow. Let's get this up here. I asked him about Evergrow and OnlyFans. He said the company did say that, but he immediately changed their minds because they did not want the image low. That's the only reason why I invested. I'm confused. Hey, I don't know if you know crypto control. Also, this might be off topic, but I asked him about Evergrow and OnlyFans. He said the company did say that, but he immediately changed their minds. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you're referencing to, FG. I'm tired of the banks saying what we can and what we can't spend our money on. Yeah, to be honest, it's not the banks that do that. It's the government that does that. When Crater. You want Crater? Buy a telescope and take a look at the moon. That's about as close as you're going to get to Crater. What we got here? It's banned as legal tender or what? I'm not sure. Is what banned as legal tender? I'm so confused. Never. Yeah. Sorry, I promise this will be the last time I bring it up. Bro, you can ask anything you want. This is an open forum. We're not here to, suppress. We don't do what the governments do. You know what I mean? This is a democracy, man. But yeah, no, sorry, I promise this will be the last time I bring it up. But Evergrow originally was going to be a cam girl website that you could, followed by something else, which I'm assuming you're typing out. Yeah, I'm not aware of that, FG. I have no idea. I wasn't aware that was the case, to be honest. Bitcoin in China, bro. Yeah. It's banned as legal tender. It probably is. I mean, what they do is they basically say, you're not allowed to mine Bitcoin because it's about control, right? People are mining Bitcoin, and obviously they can use that to send money to each other, anonymously. The Chinese government don't want that, so they will still mine it themselves because it gives them global control over, a lot of different things. But they won't allow Chinese citizens to use Bitcoin or to converse with, or engage with, with crypto. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah. So let's take a look at Binance. I haven't looked at Binance for a while. I was looking at the Binance don't look that great to me, to be honest. You've got this kind of, it's very messy back and forth. This huge broad range consolidation around about, I don't know what, 200 to 360, say. But it's very messy, and I think this has way more, chance of just falling off a cliff, than Bitcoin does. Bitcoin seems to be propped up by, well, I'll say it like this: one of the biggest advantages to Bitcoin is the fact that it's mined. Yeah, there's a lot of big players out there that will hold Bitcoin up because they want to make money. So definitely something to pay attention to and keep in mind. What have we got here? Who's this? Yeah, so definitely something to pay attention to and keep in mind. But Binance isn't the case. It was obviously a minted coin. So this has way more ability, or way more chance of going lower, I think. So definitely, again, something to keep in mind. Tip. Yeah. I mean, this was kind of a creator thing, right? So the original plan, just kind of going off my memory without checking, but the original plan was, oh, that's pretty cool, man. Check that out. Can I make a rabbit? No, I can't do it. But the original plan was that creator was going to be released, and then creators were going to go on there, sign up, and then people could then tip the creator in crypto, right? And then they said, tip the creator in Evergrow coin, which is fantastic. But obviously it never came about. And they kind of did a huge pivot, and now it's kind of focused on this lunar sky and all of this other, basically everything that he said he wasn't going to do, he's going to do. If you guys remember, not to have a dig at Evergrow or anything like that, but I remember Sam saying something about staking. It's a waste of time. It's very easy to do this, that, the other. It takes off investors. If you remember the tweet that he did, or thread of tweets, he was saying that staking takes money away from investors. It's the people basically have to, the already existing investors, they're the ones that suffer. And they're the ones that have to pay for people who have staked, and then obviously, now he's going to be staking. So, I just see a lot of circles, to be honest. But yeah, I'm sure they've got a plan. Good luck to them. I'm not here to judge. At the end of the day, there's people invested in a project, and I want that, I want that project to do well. Because obviously, if the project does well, the investors do well, and that's the only thing I give a shit about, to be honest. Oh, really? You're seeing ads on YouTube about Fed now? Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, they are going to push it. They're going to push it really, really hard. This kind of rhetoric, or this idea that, Fed now is basically just a way to send money, make things easier, whatever. It's just the introduction of the base model of what, what we can expect going forward in the next 2 to 3 years, in terms of CBDCs and the infrastructure and everything else. Again, people are smart. We're not thick, man. We know what's going on, but we just kind of go along with it because, well, what are we going to do, right? I believe FG is referring to Crater and that it has been all but abandoned. I recently had a Facebook memory 1 year ago post telling people to check out their website. Yeah. I think one of the things, right? Look, not to bash on any project. This applies to all projects, including, Rematic Finance, Rematic, and so on. As you're kind of going through the process, of trying to deliver something, sometimes and there's a way to avoid what I'm about to say, but you have like this kind of vision and plan, and you try to go down that path, and then maybe something happens and you take a pivot, or you change, or you say, oh, do you know what, I'm going to kind of, we're better suited going in this direction because that's going to serve our investors better. So that, excuse me. So there's a lot of things that, excuse me. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. It's the tea. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. But one of the things that I will say is if you have a clear, definable plan, and there's not really much that's changed in terms of your environment or around you, to change said plan, you should just follow through on that and just say what, just kind of do what you said you were going to do. Because what happens is you create this kind of negativity, and people start to ask questions, quite rightly so. And you end up spending so much time and energy defending yourself as opposed to just, moving forward with whatever, whatever it was that you were going to do. And I think one of the other things as well is that, if you try and get clever, right? So if you try to, become a little bit more eccentric in the way that you're bringing something to market, you want to be the first to do something amazing and this and that and the other, then you either better know what you're doing, right? Or you run the risk of it's like being micromanaged. It's like micromanaging something. It becomes so micromanaged and so over the top that the very thing you're trying to present or release ends up taking forever, right? For me, I've always looked at cryptocurrencies as, the results kind of speak for themselves. This is the thing, right? If we take something basic, right, and we say, okay, look, here's a cryptocurrency project. What does it do? Nothing. Right? The token doesn't do anything. If it wasn't for taxes, and I'm not talking specifically about Evergrow, I'm just talking about cryptocurrency. The majority of cryptocurrencies have absolutely no value, in the sense of they don't really do much, You know, you can buy them and you can change them for fiat currency, and you know they're more speculative in nature. You know, you buy at one price, you sell at a higher price, you make a bit of money, fantastic. But there's no real substance there. There's no real utility, and this was why the initial first wave of cryptocurrency very, very quickly turned into utility tokens, and you know these types of things. And then obviously the utility token, you know, had its own challenges. You know, well, what kind of utility are we talking about? You know, and a lot of people went down the yielding, you know, route and the APY route, the staking route. You know, if you hold our token, then you will be able to yield. And if you yield, you'll get a return on your investment and so on. But in most cases, that return on investment was given in, you know, the base currency or the native token, you know, which again, you're reliant on the fact that the market's good, bullish, whatever, for that token, you know, or the native token to be worth anything. So it kind of evolved again into this reflection token, right? Which, to be honest, the reflection token space isn't that big, to be honest. It's tiny. It's a fraction of the cryptocurrency market. And as such, you have maybe one or two projects that have the big bulk of holders, you know, and then you've got these spin-offs of reflection tokens that don't really have any semblance of anything, you know, and they then became the pump and dumps and the, you know, taking investors' money and the scams and these types of things, because they were very easy to bring to market, very easy to throw up on pink sale. Don't need to dox yourself, boom, off you go. You can even release it yourself. You can even launch it yourself and so on. And then the shift happened again, you know, which is where I kind of came in. I came off the back end of that year crap. Yeah. So that year, last year's sort of bear market, going into that scam projects not really doing anything, and then it just started to bell curve, but just started to curve ever so slightly, and now we're in that phase where, you know, projects have to prove that they are on point with whatever utility it is that they're about to bring to market. You know, and it's not about being creative, it's about bringing something of substance. So when investors invest in you, they're like, okay, I'm not investing in the token for a speculative reason. I'm not investing because I believe it's going to pump and dump and I want to be on that nice pump. I'm not investing because I'm looking to make a huge amount of money. I'm being realistic, and I'm investing because what they're saying makes a lot of sense to me. And then now we're kind of going through that phase, and eventually we're going to go to the next phase where it will be the delivery of said utilities. And that's where it's really at for me. You know, you have to be able to deliver utilities, right, that are not only good, but also do what it says on the tin, right? If the utility doesn't bring in revenue, right? I've said this so many times ad nauseum. If the utility of a cryptocurrency project does not bring in revenue from outside of crypto, it is doomed to fail. Right? Because the cryptocurrency market will not stop being attacked. The cryptocurrency market is going to get, you know, a huge amount of attention and weight, you know, that is basically going to put it in a situation where it has to make a choice. And this is all projects across all spectrums of cryptocurrency, or the cryptos, you know, the cryptocurrency space. They have to make choices. And those choices are going to be, do we continue moving forward and pay the price of regulation, or do we close up shop and just say, forget it, don't worry about it, right? A lot of people say Bitcoin solves this because it's decentralized and it's not, you know, issued and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, the substance or value of any project is dependent, absolutely 100% dependent on the US dollar. Yeah, period. Unless it's a custodial token, right, that is paired to physical gold, the value of every single cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, okay, is dependent on the value of the US dollar. Yeah. So this is an issue. This is an issue because if anything happens to the US dollar, maybe another currency, you know, takes its place. Great. But let's say CBDCs come in the next 2 to 3 years, you know, and we have a digital dollar, a digital euro, a digital pound, and so on. It seems on the surface of it that the problem is fine, right? That the problem is solved. You will continue to be able to converse. I keep saying converse. You'll continue to be able to engage with cryptocurrency, and you'll have a fiat on and off ramp, and you'll be able to change your cryptocurrency for said, you know, digital currency, whatever it will be. And then that digital currency can then be used to purchase things. But there's a big problem. It's now a digital currency, right? That has safeguards built into it, that has what's the term? limitations built into it. There's only certain things you can do with it. There's only certain amounts you can have, so on and so on. So there is this very, very, very big shift that's about to happen, across cryptocurrency as a whole. And it's going to be fused into traditional financial markets as they evolve over time as well. And we're going to end up in a situation where I don't think we're going to be in good shape, to be honest. So all of the decisions that we make now as cryptocurrency owners, as cryptocurrency founders, as project founders, project owners, and so on, the choices that we make now are what's really going to make the difference, I think, because if you don't make the right choices now, you're not going to be around in a couple of years' time. Yeah, it was kind of funny. OF was going to get shut down. Let me see. Kind of funny. I was going to get shut down by the banks, but so many single mothers complain they were going to lose their jobs. They retracted their statement. Forgive me. What's OF? While you're typing that out, let me take a look. In terms of the experiment, by the way, guys, we're just waiting. We're just being patient. I'll just give you guys a quick heads up of where we're at right now. Across the whole portfolio, basically up about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm up about $7 on the total of 5 positions. So we're holding XRP, holding Bitcoin, Shiba, DOT, and Binance. Binance is the one that has basically been underwater pretty much since I bought it, to be honest. But again, it's an experiment in practical investing. When we do the next podcast, I'll keep you guys abreast of that. Yeah, you see, look at the monthly of DOT. That's looking like we could potentially start to. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. SHIB not really doing much. XRP, I think, is the reason I held on to this instead of taking the profits as it broke 58, close to 60, is because I believe we're going to get that secondary pop. I'm watching this very, very closely, very closely. So we'll see how it all pans out. Yeah, all good. Let's get back to the chat. OnlyFans, sorry, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. So all in all, I think we're in good shape. I think the markets are stagnant. I think they're waiting for something pretty significant to happen. I'm going to continue driving everybody crazy on Twitter. And unless anybody else has got any more questions, I think half an hour is pretty good. We've had a decent turnout. Don't forget to like the stream, by the way. Don't forget to like the stream. No, it's fine. You can say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. This is a live anyway. If it gets shut off, it gets shut off. I don't really care. But it wouldn't anyway, because you're in the chat. Basically, the chat is separate from, it's not necessarily about the algorithm. As long as you're, civil in the chat and you don't swear and things like this, and, the spam filter just leaves you alone. You say whatever you want. Cardano, yeah. Pretty flat, to be honest. It's a bit difficult because it's effectively, if you take the fact that it's kind of starting here and it's ended up here. Let me go to the hourly chart. We're basically going sideways, right? So if you just do this, you can see we came off. This is that pullback, and it's kind of just driving higher. But the question is, this isn't really going to move unless the rest of the cryptocurrency market moves with it, right? Or unless an influx of money comes into, ADA. So yeah, not really much to say about it, to be honest. Dependent on the rest of the market. Yep. ADA cash. All right, 1 second. ADA cash. Wrapped BNB, pancake swap. Let me see. I might have this wrong, but let's take a look. Yeah, so basically, this is flatlined, and you know, I wouldn't want to be the patient. You know, that's oh goodness me. Let me take a look here. I'm assuming this, right? Is this what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about, FG? While I'm waiting for you to answer, just give me 1 second, guys. I'll literally be two. All right, yeah. So you're talking about this. Yeah, it looks like Evergrow, to be honest. It looks like quite a few of the charts. So here's the thing. So you know, when you look at a chart like this, there's absolutely nothing that you can talk about technically that makes any sense, right? I mean, I could really break this down and go to the 1 minute chart and kind of see where the volume is and stuff like this, but it would be completely pointless. It's irrelevant, right? Even when you zoom in and you see a little bit of movement like this, and this is a tax token, I'm assuming. Buy tax 15, sell tax 16. Yeah. So you're not making any money on this. This is literally, you know, going all the way back to, you know, basic investing. And just to be clear, I don't even know about this project. I have no idea, right, about this project. But it goes back to basic sensible investing. You know, if you're looking at a chart like this, you're never going to make money on this trading. It is literally just a buy and hold forever. If you believe that the project is good, what it stands for, the project owners are solid, you know, and you notice I said believe all of these things, right? And, you know, you feel that it has merit, you know, in the years to come. Personally, just looking at a chart like this, I'm like, yeah, it's done. I'm not going to touch this, you know. Maybe it does well. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I'm just purely looking at the chart. It's almost, well, there's no volume. I'm assuming if I looked at this on Dex tools, I'd probably see a little bit of something, because sometimes PooCoin, you know, is a bit poo, right? But I wouldn't even touch this, you know, just as purely looking at the chart. As far as what they do, you know, what they're about, if you believe in them, you know, and you're already in it, I guess there's not really much you can do. You're just going to have to hold on. You're down 500 bucks. Yeah. All right. No worries. Well, let me ask you this. Did you buy into this out of hype? You know, was you hyped into this? You know, and there's no shame. You know, I've been hyped. I hyped into. Oh my goodness, Dodge. Like, nice. Do you know what? I feel really bad. I didn't even know that stupid chat thing was on. You sending me $5 for, man? Oh my god. Let me check this out. Let me see. You see how committed CP is. He's not messing about. He's like, listen, I'm trying to get in touch with this guy. He's not listening. He's not checking his messages. I need to get in touch with him, man. That's so funny. Let me see. SDX. Okay. 107. Boom. Wow, man. Seriously, man. What an absolutely beautiful example, right? Of a phenomenal launch, as far as I'm concerned. You know, JP. And let me just talk a little bit about SDX for a second, right? The thing about SDX is JP's in an industry, right, that I've been in for years. Yeah. You know, I grew up in fish and chip shops and restaurants and all this sort of stuff. We, you know, family businesses, whatever, right? And I spent a lot of time, you know, dealing with Just Eat. I've spent a lot of time dealing with, you know, and we go to the hourly chart. Look at that, man. That is absolutely stunning. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. We're gonna stay live until this kills a zero. But I spent a lot of time in this industry. And as such, I know, right, that the pains of the catering industry, especially over here in the you know, in the UK, winky wink, you know, the pains of dealing with the industry over here in the UK, the catering industry, the cost of doing business over here, the VAT is, or at least the VAT system when it comes to the catering industry is very, very, very poor. It's just a challenge. It's a constant challenge. And then when Just Eat came along, it's like, oh, wow, this is great. But the thing about Just Eat is that they absolutely decimate, businesses. They don't own any restaurants. They don't own any, well, they don't own anything. They just literally pair. It's like the algorithm, YouTube recommendation system. They pair restaurants to, paying customers, right, who want to get a takeaway. But the problem with that is that they charge you an absolute fortune. Even if you use Deliveroo or Just Eat or some of these other ones like Uber Eats, for example, they charge you 30%, 36%, 37%, 38%. If you use their drivers. If you don't use their drivers, then they charge you, maybe 12% or 15%. The point being is, it's a disgusting industry, right? And it is bastardized, it's monopolized, and what JB is trying to do is going to fix this problem, right? And I can tell you personally, right, that being in an industry where you're trying to fix problems that are not just about the deliveries, not just about the purchasing of goods, or stock, not just about employees, not just about the poor working conditions. It's about everything, right? This is literally about everything, and having an app, for example, right, that does what state says it's going to do, allows restaurant owners to take back the power and have more revenue coming in by literally slashing commissions, because that's where the biggest problem is. The commissions that Just Eat takes, the commissions that Uber Eats takes, Deliveroo, some of these other ones, right, are so horrendous that they eat into businesses and they actually put businesses out of business. This is disgusting, right? And this has been happening for years and years and years. And as Just Eat grew and grew and grew, it's a great concept, don't get me wrong, and they've nailed it, but it's not fair. And I'll tell you guys a very quick story. We had a guy that popped round, one of the Just Eat, I guess reps or whatever. He came round and he's like, I just want to kind of check in. We're doing this promotion. Are you interested? And we said, nah, we're not interested. Thanks anyway. And he's like, yeah, but why? And he was being a little bit pushy. So my brother got a bit leery with him and he said, look, we're not interested. See you later. We're busy, right? So he left. That was pretty much the end of it. Then the next day, it's quite funny. The next day, we get a delivery comes through. And I'm looking at the address and I'm like, that don't make sense, man. There's no way that can't be the address. Yeah, because I know that address is like 17 miles away, right? Like literally 17 miles away, round trip. Yeah, not there and back, as in like 17 miles there, 17 miles back. It's 17 miles round trip. Didn't make any sense because our radius is like 4.5 miles, right? So we looked at the Just Eat map and it had been extended, yeah, massively. So this clown has gone back, and it was obvious. This clown's gone back because we refused to, to play ball, and be part of this ridiculous promotion, and extended the radius. Yeah, and out of spite, I took the delivery. I was like, I'm taking it anyway. I jumped on the little moped and off I went, right? But I took the delivery because I'm like, absolutely no way. You know what I mean? There's no way that I'm going to let this person basically, do this to us. And it's not just that, expanding the radius of delivery, right? The actual radius of where you're willing to deliver to means that more people will see you on Just Eat. We've never been without paying, like the business was very high up on Just Eat's recommendation system, because obviously if you're in that area, we've got, we almost had 6 stars out of 6, great reviews, all the good stuff. Food's amazing, so we were always at the top, but we were never promoted, right? And the following week we were promoted. You know what I mean? Now we'd already reduced the radius again, but the point I'm trying to make is they do sneaky shit like that, because that's just what they do. If you call them up, for example, and you say, I want to change the price of my menu, and these are the items that I want to change, they're slow. They're deliberately slow. They don't want to change them for you because they know if that you increase your prices, that people are less likely to buy from your, from your restaurant or from your business, and so on and so on. Very, very sneaky. The stuff that they do is very, very sneaky, and it's unacceptable. They should not be allowed to do things like this, right? So I think JB, what he's doing is absolutely amazing. And I will tell you now, I know, I don't want to give a number, but I know a lot of restaurants. I know a lot of businesses, that use Just Eat, so I'm going to do everything that I can. Once it's ready, I'm going to be making some calls for sure. There's, 100%, man, 100%. Because I hate Just Eat, man. I cannot stand Just Eat. I hate Just Eat so much. So, yeah, very close, man, to breaking that zero. It actually did break the 100. 1004. Nice. Got some big buys coming in, man. 2,800, 9 B&B. Nice. Excellent, man. And to be fair, they're great. They're awesome lads over there. I wish them all the best. I really do. JB knows, and I'm always there to help. Whatever he wants. Staking pool, staking staked. Any thoughts on the general stock market? Yeah, they will have staking soon. I don't want to speak for them, but on this one I can. They will have staking soon. Any thoughts on the general stock market? Yeah, I mean, look, as a general rule of thumb, when things are quiet, it's not a good thing. Now, this can go one of two ways, right? You look at the NASDAQ, and you know what? Let's go over to the S&P. So you're looking at the S&P, and you're like, okay, S&P's doing all right? Had a nice little bounce. It's managed to get back above 4,000, but not with any real oomph or significance. It just seems a bit lethargic. And the market's definitely waiting for something, So again, I've made it very clear that I believe the S&P is going to be below 3,000 at some point this year. Right. Obviously, timing can be a challenge. It doesn't necessarily mean you can always time the market, but I do believe that that's going to happen. And I also believe that the cryptocurrency market will not be able to survive, or I said that wrong, not survive, but I don't believe the cryptocurrency market will be able to weather the effect of a systemic crash, globally. Or if something happens, like a war breaks out, something pretty significant and so on, no market's going to be able to weather that storm, because it's not about whether the technology is better or whether, they're producing something of quantity or quality or whatever. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about fear and greed. People panic, pull their money, and then they sit and wait, you know what I mean? And just wait for things to kind of settle through. So, and you can see it, gold starting to take a nice little run, commodities are starting to spike just a little bit of volume coming into commodities and so on. So the general market for me is one of waiting, being patient, and hoping, that something significant doesn't happen. But I believe we're in line for something pretty dramatic. Now, there may be a curveball thrown in there with XRP, in terms of general market, consensus or sentiment, should I say. And I'm sorry, I'm mincing my words today, but general market sentiment in terms of that feel good, right? If XRP, announces, that, or Ripple in this case announces that they, it's very favorable, in terms of the SEC, and what's going on with them, their case, then that might be a little curveball that comes in and kind of saves the day for a small amount of time. But to be honest, I still don't think we're in good shape. We've also got to take into consideration, Ethereum, they're going to be doing their Shanghai super duper Dragon Ball Z, on the 12th of April. So when that happens, there's a lot of stuff out there, footing and no, this is going to happen and everybody's on staking and blah, 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 blah. But again, we'll see. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to go and shut this door because it's creaking behind me. I don't know if it's coming up on the, on the audio, but just give me 1 second. I apologize. 1 sec. Yeah, all right, we should be good. I've moved the blind as well, so it's a little bit brighter, but we should be all right. So yeah, what we got here, staking pool, yes. Any thoughts on yours? Yeah. Also, hope you're well. Yeah, Serge, what's going on? Yeah, I'm good. Whoa. Yeah, that's not going to work. Wow. Okay, so let me just stop the camera, but I'll still be around, obviously. So yeah, I think the general stock market's going to be in trouble, you know, but we just have to be patient. We just have to be patient. It's very, very difficult, you know, to kind of predict these things, but we look at past data, we look at some of the things that are happening. You know, we try to ascertain based on past data, you know, commitment of traders, commercials, non-commercials, all of this stuff, you know, and we keep an eye on safe havens, gold, silver, precious metals, commodities, bonds, interest rates, and all the good stuff. And we finally arrive at a conclusion, and then we're just patient, you know, and we wait to see whether that conclusion, you know, comes to fruition. But the one thing that I will say is that I don't think this is going to end well. Like, how can it? You know, in my opinion, like how can it end well? There's just way too much going on. Way too much going on. I've got to be very, very careful. Very, very careful, and be patient. And this was part of what this experiment is all about, you know, in terms of me, you know, buying some cryptocurrencies and trying to show, you know, how to buy on the way up and buy on the way down, you know, do it in a methodical way. State crypto will be helping the hospitality and small restaurants with lowering their cost of delivery. Absolutely 1000%. And this is what's needed in this industry, especially the catering industry. Absolutely 100%. And like I said, I've got a lot of experience in the catering industry. I've been cooking for years and dealing with, you know, consumers. I've been dealing with, you know, other restaurants. I've been dealing with, you know, suppliers. Man, I've done a lot of stuff over the years, guys. Everything. I've done insolvencies. I've done restaurants. I've done, you know, chippies. I've done takeaways. I've had online businesses. Like, it's just loads, man. I've done so much stuff. You know, a lot of it's failed. You know, some of it's been great. And through all of that, you learn how big business works. You learn how easy it is, actually, to be fair, to monopolize a particular industry. So yeah, there's a lot of good. You know, there's a lot of a lot of things that need to change. And obviously, companies like State, you know, and Rematic Finance, that's another one. You know, obviously, you know, we're trying to do things differently. We're trying to bring value, you know, outside of the norm, outside of what we're told is this is the way you're supposed to do it. You have to go on an exchange and blah 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 blah. Well, not really. You know, if you use your common sense, you can actually save that money and put it to good use. As an example, for your asthma, if you have you tried the Wim Hof breathing technique and cold showers? The thing about my asthma, not to kind of digress on what we're talking about, but the thing about my asthma is it's kind of all over the place, you know. And I think I went for years, no problems whatsoever, right? And then we went to a wedding a couple of years ago in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember where it was. Beautiful place, countryside, over here in the UK. And in one evening, you know, me, the wife and the children, we've all, you know, gone to meet my sister and whatnot to go and get some food. And we went for a walk. This was in the evening. Everything was fine, no problem. And then just out of the blue, I just started coughing, you know, and I was like, why am I coughing? It makes no sense, you know. And basically, I just had like a really severe asthma attack, and I left my inhaler at the hotel, you know, so I had to drive 30 minutes to get back to the hotel. You know, and that was very, very difficult, you know. And then over the next 2 years, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. So it needs to be managed, you know. And obviously, I've recently had an asthma review and this and that and the other. And like, look, your asthma is so bad, you know, that if you don't do something about it soon, you know, it's probably going to kill you. And I'm like, all right, safe. Tell me what I need to do. And they're like, take this stuff, you know, and stop being a clown. And I was like, fine, you know. But I'm always looking to natural remedies. I'm not really a fan of taking things, but I've also got to be responsible because I'm a father, you know, and a husband, and obviously I need to be around for my kids. So, you know, I am careful, I am cautious, but also I do push myself though. You know, I'm stupid because I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for a run, and the asthma either kills me or I make it home. Like, that's how I think, which is really dumb. Do you know what I mean? But I do these stupid things to myself. You know, I'll just leave the inhaler at home, for example. But again, to answer your question, because I know I'm going off on one, I haven't, but I will look into it. Thank you. So yeah, all in all, I think it's been a great session. You know, I'm really liking these lives, man. You know, these lives are turning into, you know, really good, informative, you know, and engaging lives, I think. What have we got here? On the internet, I'm only 3 inches tall, best case. Shut up. Shall we throw one out now? Just in. Let's do a Bitcoin one. Bitcoin. found at the bottom of the ocean. Bitcoin is Bitcoin can swim. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And on that note, you're a hell of a man. I remember apologizing. Yeah. Yeah, I, you know, I just, like I said, look, man, I try to be mindful, you know, of people's time, because, you know, we've been on for 50 minutes, you know, that's a decent amount of time. You know, you're talking about an hour of people's time, you know, you guys are spending your time with me. You know, and obviously I hope that I deliver value. That's the most important thing for me. But in the end, you know, I'm conscious, you know, of the fact that you guys are spending this time with me. So, you know, I like to be mindful of that. And I, you know, if I feel that some of the things that I'm doing, i.e. wheezing or kind of going off all over the place, you know, to apologize for that. But, you know, like I said, look, I think 50 minutes is good. We'll leave the stream there because I've got to shoot off in about 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to wish everybody an absolutely awesome evening. And I will... going to be busy this week, but just as a quick side note, make sure that you come to, if you're a holder of Rematic Finance, make sure you come to the next RFVC. I'm going to schedule it probably for Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be before Friday, because like I said, it's Orthodox Easter this week, so I'm going to be very busy. But you know, I've got some amazing news, so obviously I want to kind of start going through, you know, all of that, you know, in terms of what we're doing at the moment. And yeah, we're very close, so I'm very happy now, very, very happy. So with all of that said, I'm going to leave you all to it. Hope you have an awesome an awesome evening or day wherever you are, and I'm in all the usual places, and I'll catch you then. Ciao, ciao.